sariyo vare smara sundaranguni sariyo vare.
TM Krishna is called many things: superstar, enigma, maverick, sex symbol. This 39-year-old is the biggest name and the young genius of Carnatic music, the South Indian classical music. What are the major elements of Carnatic music? How can we appreciate the astonishing beauty of this music? And how is TM Krishna changing the rules and shaking the foundations of Carnatic music? You're watching Art Talk. I'm Jujhar Singh. Krishna, thank you very much for joining us on the show here in your home in Chennai.
Thank you for having me.
Your reputation very much precedes you. You're shaking up the Carnatic music system.
I'm just living life the way I believe it should be lived.
Okay, we're going to talk about all of this, but for the benefit of viewers who are not familiar, the Carnatic classical music concert or kacheri has had a fixed format since the 1930s. So you begin with a varnam, which is a warm-up piece, then you have kritis, which are composition, then you have ragam, tanam, pallavi, where you elaborate on a rag more exhaustively, then you have tukras, which are light pieces, and finally you end with a mangalam, which is an auspicious composition. Now, what has been the purpose of this fixed format?
The whole idea was to probably give a variety of compositions, a variety of ragas, and different alaps, and then one important alap. So the variety.
So you have
of
fixed compositions, you have improvisation pieces.
In those also, you had a mix of things.
A package deal.
Exactly, a package deal, and this package deal came to stay. And the fact is that other musicians have played around a bit with it, but more or less in the last 100 years, we have stuck to this being the ideal way of presenting this art form.
All right, but the point is that you're breaking these rules. You're not following this format.
I think that the format over the years has led to a certain deterioration in the aesthetics of the music itself. Every piece that I sing in a concert must be only about the music as far as I'm concerned. Only about what is that piece. If it's a composition, what is the composition? What is the structure of the composition? What am I investing into the composition? What am I investing into the raga, into the words, into the tala, into the fact that they come together as one unified idea? To me, that is demolished the moment I think that this has to be structured in a certain fashion to make a successful concert. Once I start thinking in that fashion, my focus is completely shifted to something that, according to me, is a paraphernalia, which is just an over decoration, which has come to actually distract me from intense engagement of everything that I am presenting.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's look at every element of a typical Carnatic classical music concert or kacheri and see how you're approaching it differently. Now, you begin usually with a varnam, where you show syntax, you show speed. It's supposed to be a warm-up piece, right? But you sometimes do a varnam in the middle of your concert.
Well, I've always joked that if you want to warm up, do it at home and then come onto the stage. No, the point is this. Varnam, it's a compositional form that is supposed to give you a certain warming up of the vocal cords and gives, if you are an instrumentalist, gives you certain dexterity and eases you in. I'm not going to deny that that is not given by certain kinds of varnams. Not all varnam, but certain kind of varnam. But if I was going to look at the composition of varnam as a musical piece, then you find that that composition is such a gorgeous creation of lyrics, tala and raga in a very unique fashion. By saying it is only a warm-up piece, which means I'm also warming up, the audience is also warming up, we are all adjusting our seats and making sure we are okay. What happens to the beauty of its creation? What happens to the aesthetic opportunities that the varnam provides? What happens even to the improvisational possibilities that the varnam provides? All those are completely forgotten in this whole mindset of something warming me up.
Because it's supposed to be a warm-up piece which is short, whereas what you are now doing is you're beginning slowly, you're elaborating on that composition, and you're even taking 1.5 hours to do one varnam.
Yeah. So my point is, whether you sing in the beginning or the middle is not the problem. The problem is what is your attitude towards it?
Okay, I'll tell you what.
That's the problem.
Let's take a little pause over here. We're talking about varnams. We'd love to have a little glimpse of a varnam.
Sure, I'll sing a varnam for you. I'll sing a varnam in a raga called Begada, and it's a very well-known varnam. Most varnams, not just this varnam, most varnams are kind of romantic lyrically, and but praising some lord or the other. So it is religious in that sense. Now I keep singing, right? Normally what would happen, I may sing it at this speed, second speed of this, and 4.5 minutes, the varnam is over. I'm saying, there's so much music in this, beyond warming it up. Why not explore it improvisationally? I improvise now, just now for you. But there is so much music in this. There is so much raga in this.
Beautiful.
So my point is exactly, I'm not saying don't warm up, but don't reduce it to being some exercise.
Okay, next. In the Carnatic concert format, the next thing after Varnam is Kritis. These are songs that they can be longer songs. Some of them involve improvisation, some of them don't.
Yeah.
How are you approaching this now?
Well, again, I just feel that what we have done to the Kritis is some of them I think we have treated very well, where I have to say even in the traditional Kacheri plan. But some of them we just treat them as being some kind of fillers, where they just appear and just you sing them in 2.5 minutes. They're supposed to be rest. So you have two, say, bigger Kritis, and then you throw one in between. My point is, you don't need to sing so many Kritis, first of all.
Yeah.
Whatever Kriti you sing, whether it's small, big, I feel it has to be treated with improvisation. Because, let's look at it this way. Which is the best way I can pay tribute to a great piece of musical creation by a composer? My way of showing value is to explore it even more. My way of saying, look at how beautiful it is to try and find an angle in it, which that composer has given me. And that angle could be towards the raga, towards the way he's treated the thala. It could be the way the lyrics and the ragas move together. So if I'm going to say there are certain compositions which are slightly trivial, certain compositions that are important, to me it makes no sense. The trivial compositions have no place, in my opinion. Yeah. So every composition to me has to be treated with equal respect.
I'll tell you what, how about we have a little glimpse of a Kriti as well?
Okay, sure. Janaki Pate, name of the raga is Har Priya. Janaki Pate, Jaya Karunya Jalade, Shri Janaki Pate, Jaya Karunya Jalade, Jaya Kausalyananda Vadana Jagadabhirama Pattabhirama Janaki Pate Jaya Karunya Jalade.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I know that usually in a Carnatic concert, there's always a Kriti dedicated to Lord Ganesh. I'm wondering if a few lines you can offer us.
I can.
Or offer him rather.
Siddhi Vinayakam Anisham Chintayamyakam Siddhi Vinayakam Anisham Chintayamyakam Siddhi Vinayakam Anisham Chintayamyakam म्यहं प्रसीदगणनायकं विशिष्टार्थदायकं वरं सिद्धिविनायकं मनीषम्
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now the next part of a Carnatic concert kacheri is what's called the RTP, Ragam Tanam Pallavi. Very briefly, what is this RTP?
Well, RTP is an amalgamation of all the possible kinds of improvisation that there is in Carnatic music. So you start with an alapana.
You begin with the ragam, which is like an alap.
It is an alap.
Slowly improvising,
So you-
unfolding the rag
Yeah.
note by note.
You unfold the raga
Yeah.
as an alapana. Then we sing something called tanam. And tanam is almost, if I was going to say a little tanam, the same raga that I sang the Kirtana on Ganesh, Shanmugapariya. Anam tum tada ganam tada anam tum tada anam tada ganam nam nam tada anam tum tada ganam tum tada ganam tum tada anam tum tum tada ganam tada ganam tada anam tada ganam tada. No, I can go on like this. So it's
There's also a little bit of a rhythmic element
exactly.
of it.
So it is a non-fixed rhythmic idea. So there is a lot of play of rhythm, but it's not fixed in a tara, in any tara.
So ragam, tanam, and
So
then pallavi.
alapana, tanam, and then a pallavi is simple. Pallavi means a single line composition. So you use that line and you start improvising, first melodically, and then you can improvise rhythmically. So it's like a single line composition that we use. So ragam, tanam, pallavis are by themselves complete creations of improvisation.
All right. Now the point is that I believe that a typical Carnatic presentation would mean that you flow from the ragam to the tanam to the pallavi, and it's usually in one rag, so you can see the entire unfoldment of a rag. But you are doing it differently. What are you doing?
I have kind of looked at these elements slightly differently. Now, I have presented even now Ragam, Tanam, Pallavis as a suite
Yeah.
together, as a suite together, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fine. But I'm also saying, I have presented alapanas as separate pieces. I take Raga X, whatever it is.
Okay.
I sing an alapana in it,
Okay.
and the piece is over. I have not followed it
There's
up.
no tanam, there's no pallavi.
One, or there's no, sometimes we sing alapana and a kriti also, right? In our tradition, we sing an alapana and a kriti.
Okay.
So I'm not following it up by a kriti. My point is, the alapana by itself is sometimes a complete creation of its own. And it doesn't need to be attached to the tanam or pallavi, or doesn't need to be attached to a kirtana. So I presented alaps by themselves as individual aesthetic creations. But I've also sung them as ragam, tanam, pallavis. And my point is, it's about, does it make aesthetic sense?
We've been talking about ragam, tanam, pallavi, RTP. I'm wondering if again you can just pick on something, give us a little glimpse of it.
Okay, I'll just sing 2 lines of an alap, about 2 lines of a tanam, and I'll sing the pallavi. So you just understand.
We're forcing you into a mini
Well,
kacheri format.
you're making me do exactly stuff I would not do. But nevertheless, I will. So the ragam is a very popular South Indian ragam called Kamboji.
Yeah.
So usually you would elaborate it very slowly and spend a lot of time. But I'll just give you a kind of a glimpse. So you can keep on singing. Then you would sing a tanam. Num tum tum tata num tata num tata num tata num ta num tata num tata Ganum da da 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 ganum da ganum da 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 ganum da da num 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 da da ganum tum. This is Tanam. Suppose I take a single line. Pallavi is basically a single line composition. Parimala ranga payata Mampahi parimala ranga payata Mampahi parimala ranga payata. Now I use this line
to elaborate.
Parimala ranga pate Mampahi parimala ranga pate. I can elaborate it. Then I will tag it with swaras. Nidani padama parimala ranga padama garisa nida pada garisa nida dabama parim. Maybe faster speed. Dada nida panida mama dabama gama padarisa nida mama parim. So this, you can just go on.
It's beautiful, and it's amazing how in our classical music, how one line can be the subject of so much innovation and improvisation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's why it's very important for us to spend more time on every line, on every note, on every word, and be more engrossed, immersed, lost in that than worry about what makes a concert. That's immaterial. That will happen by itself.
Krishna, in a typical Carnatic classical music presentation, this ragam, tanam, pallavi is usually the center point. It's heavy, you're elaborating. So usually the next thing that you follow it up by are tukras, light pieces. They can be bhajans, they can be folk music, romantic, patriotic music. But I know you have very strong views on this as well.
Well, the point is, what is this music about? What is Carnatic music about? In the context of what the aesthetics of that form is, in the context of why that form is in creation and society that you and I celebrate, I do not believe that these tukadas have a place here. These tukadas have a place in different forms. Say if you go to Nam Sankirtan, bhajan, for an evening of bhajan. And why do you go there? You go there to get religious fervor. You go there to feel bhakti. There, if there are bhajans, it makes perfect aesthetic sense because that's the role of bhajans. They are also in rag and tal, by the way. So the point is
the traditionalists say that the reason to do tukaras in a concert is that after the heaviness of what you presented earlier, toward the end, you should leave people feeling a little bit lighter.
I think it's a ridiculous argument for the simple reason, I think the fact that you have to leave people lighter, this is, first of all, this is not about having a dessert and going back home. It's not about having something spicy and then having something sweet.
Yeah.
This is not food. The purpose of art is very different. The purpose of idiom like Carnatic music, the idea of Carnatic music is a certain intense engagement to the beauty of the sound and the aesthetics that form it. To me, the tukadas are there exactly to do what you said, to create patriotic fervor or religious fervor or bhakti fervor. To me, none of those things have a role within the aesthetic structure of Carnatic music. You do that in bhajan sangrahas, you do that in kavalis. When you go to a kavali, you go there for a certain religious, certain spiritual experience. It makes perfect sense. I am here to celebrate the beauty of the aesthetic construction that is Carnatic.
Okay, but this is a very good point where perhaps we can take the opportunity to hear a bhajan from you. What are you going to sing for us?
This is a bhajan, this is a song I learnt in school actually. So I'll sing that. It's a nice, beautiful song. Jaya Jayati Jaya Raghuvansha Bhushana
Goswami Tulsidas.
Rajiva Lochanam Jaya Jayati Jaya Raghuvansha Bhushana Rajiva Lochanam भयताप खंडन जगतमंडन ध्यान गम्य अगोचरम जय जयति जय रघुवंश भूषण राम राजीव लोचनम अद्वैत अविनाशी अनंदित मोक्षप्रद हरिरंजनम तव शरण भवनिधि पारुदायक हन्य जगत विडम्बनम जय जयति जय जयति जय जय जयति जय रघुवंश भूषण राम राजीव लोचनम.
Such a beautiful composition, and you have such a beautiful voice.
Not bad, I'll survive. Yeah, it is a gorgeous composition. Actually, Lakshmi Shankarji used to sing it quite in an exquisite fashion.
Krishna, I think we need a little break. But we'll continue following a life story after that. After a very short break, the genius of Carnatic music, T.M. Krishna, will continue to be on our talk. We'll be right back.
And the winner is Jujhar Singh from NewsX.
Welcome back. You're watching Our Talk with me, Jujhar Singh. We're with the genius of Carnatic, South Indian music, T.M. Krishna, and his home in Chennai. Krishna, how and when did you get into music?
I come from a family of businessmen traditionally, but very interested in music and the arts in general. And when I was about 3 or 4, my mother used to learn music. My mother is not a professional singer, but she's a singer. And apparently when I was 3 and 4, I showed some interest in music. So
I've heard that your mom used to take music classes, but you used to remember all the songs.
Yeah, they say stuff like that. I don't know how much of it is true and how much of it is just our own imagination. But yes, and I started learning when I was about 6.
From Vidwan Sitaram Sharma.
Yes, my guru's name is Sitaram Sharma. Yes.
Wait.
I sang my first concert when I was 12 years old. But it's still, until second year of college, I never thought this is going to be my life. I really thought I wanted to actually go to D school, do my graduation in D school, and then head off to LSC. And that was my whole dream. And I said, okay, music is on the side. I'll just keep doing it. But then when my friends and some senior musicians, started telling me, you have to take this seriously. And that's when I thought, okay, I need to decide. And my parents are very Catholic, very easy people who basically let you do what you want. So my dad said, fine, give it a shot. If it doesn't work, get back to studying in a couple of years. So that's when after college, I did my graduation in economics and I took the plunge. And a few years later...
And you had some more gurus after that?
Yes, a few years later, I also learned from a great master of the Ragam Tanam Pallavi, especially. His name is Chengalpet Ranganathan. I went and did a course with him and then I trained with him. But I think the biggest break I got was when one of the greatest musicians from this country, Shamaguri Srinivas Iyer, doyen of Indian music, one fine day came to my concert and told my father, who he knew for many years, send him to me. And from about 1997, 96, for about 6 years I learned from this great man. That was a very memorable experience for me.
Krishna, what a wonderful pleasure to have you on our talk. Thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Thank you so much, Jujhar, for allowing me to say all that I said. Veda Shastra Tatvarthamudu Telisi Veda Shastra Tatvarthamudu తత్వార్థములు తెలిసి వేద 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 శాస్త్ర తత్వార్థములు తెలిసి వేద శాస్త్ర తత్వార్థములు తెలిసి వేద శాస్త్ర